Grand Prix, I'm Naveen Razik. Well, it was Lewis Hamilton who took the victory at the British Grand Prix on the weekend, surviving the rain to go lights to flag. It was a fairly good race, not fantastic, but we did see some good racing, and we got to see the drivers really fighting to take control of their cars, which is always great to see in Formula One. However, the event was spoiled by yet another unnecessary safety car stop. Look, I'm very much in favour of increasing driver safety, and if we have safer cars, we'll get more exciting tracks, and I do think that we should have some form of extra head protection, although I do lean towards the aeroscreen as opposed to the halo. That said, I don't think every race needs to start behind the safety car. I mean, we did see drivers spinning out, but that wasn't due to heavy rain. That was just due to the changing conditions as the track dried up. In fact, I don't actually think any rain actually fell during the race at all. So I think that keeping the safety car out until the track conditions were bordering on the intermediates was just overdoing it a bit much. Of course, we do have to remember that the FIA is facing a lawsuit from the Bianchi family, which they are entitled to do, and the FIA have been taking things rather cautiously these last few races. You'll also notice that at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, they took 50 minutes to bring the safety car in, and that was very much very borderline whether that should have been a suitable time for the safety car to come in or not. Still, if we are going to be this cautious, particularly in 2017 when we have extra head protection, I will not be very impressed at all. I think the FIA needs to let the drivers show their skill. They're the best in the world, and I do think the FIA should try and challenge them a bit more and stop being as easy as they are at the moment. Speaking of FIA shenanigans, Nico Rosberg, who fought tooth and nail to get second place from Max Verstappen, was demoted to third for a radio infringement, the first penalty of this type we have seen this season. Rosberg had a gearbox issue in the race, and the team advised him over the radio to double shift and skip 7th gear. This is the team radio in full.
Driver default 101, chassis default 01, chassis default 01. Avoid 7th gear, Nico, avoid 7th gear.
Well, what does that mean? I mean, I have to shift through it.
A firm, Nico, you need to shift through it. A firm, you need to shift through it.
Now, my understanding says that the second part of that is what got them in trouble. The explicit instructions to double shift is technically telling the driver how to drive the car. That said, I still think this is pretty ridiculous. There needs to be some distinction between telling the driver how to improve their performance and fixing an unexpected problem. And the thing is that Rosberg lost more here for a stupid radio rule than he did in Austria for his collision. So Mercedes are planning to appeal this ruling, and I thoroughly back this decision. I think it is a ridiculous rule and something that needs to be rethought in the future. Finally, to finish off this session, which is turned to a rant on the FIA track limits, try at least to be consistent, please. We only had one time deleted in qualifying, even though several drivers went all 4 wheels off the track. Even if they lost time, their time should still have been deleted if you really are going to enforce this zero-tolerance approach. It is in no way difficult to judge whether a driver's gone off the track. All you need is a couple of cameras on the car and on the corner. I mean, you have line judges in tennis who do this stuff just focusing on that corner. We need line stewards in Formula One just to nail down this track limit. If we aren't going to have baguette curbs or a wall on the exit of the corner, you need some sort of adequate deterrent, and that needs to be in the form of a penalty. And I do think that Formula One needs to enforce this much more strictly. So that was my rant on the FIA. To sum up, I could probably quote Paul Stoddard, but I won't because that's not for this time slot, unfortunately. So the gap between the Formula One leaders is now just 1 point. Nico Rosberg 1 point ahead of Lewis Hamilton following his his radio penalty. Sebastian Vettel now drops behind Kimi Raikkonen and Daniel Ricciardo in the standings after a poor performance from him. Struggled to get into the top 10. Got his first penalty points of the year as well for accident, or I judge it as accidentally, but you could that's up to debate. Pushing Felipe Massa off the of the track at turn 2. It was a good day for Red Bull, very surprising, given the fact that this is a much of a power track. They started to pull back the points difference between them and Ferrari. Now, Hamilton has now won 3 of the last 4 races this year, and you do have to say that he is now the form driver of the year, and it will be very difficult for Nico Rosberg to keep him under wraps, although we are heading into Hungary, the only track which Mercedes have not won at in their history in Formula 1. They have just really struggled to get the momentum going there. It's been very much thrown up the wild card. It is a Monaco without the barriers and should produce some great racing. That's all from the NJR Sports Desk for today. Looking at some of the other results, it was a Red Bull clean sweep in the Supercar Series, and Joseph Newgarden was victorious at the Iowa 300. Later this week will be the full Mobile Chicanes episode, keeping you on track, in-depth discussion with me and Josh on all the big issues this week. But until then, it's goodbye from Grand Prix.